More people are risking their lives for that perfect selfie. A new study says 259 people have died in the past.
The desire to capture a breathtaking shot can easily turn into a dangerous obsession. People climb the tallest buildings, stand on the edges of cliffs, or take photos next to moving objects without fully realizing that the price of such risk can be far too high. The pursuit of a unique photo often leads to tragedy. These are not just stories about mistakes, but lessons that show how one wrong decision can change everything. Today, we will look at selfies and ordinary photos that turned out to be the last ones in people's lives. For two Brazilian bloggers, the choice between safety and appearance simply did not exist. Looking good came first, and everything else was secondary. This incident took place on a recreational yacht in Brazil. A group of bloggers and their friends went on a sea trip near a waterfall known as Devil's Throat, located along the infamous coastline not far from São Paulo. This location attracts thousands of visitors every year, thanks to its breathtaking views. The day began with laughter, music, endless photos, and stunning ocean scenery. A yacht trip under the open sky seemed like the perfect experience. But sadly, it would soon turn into a tragedy. During the party, guests were given life jackets for the return journey. However, two guests, 27-year-old Beatrice and 37-year-old Alina Morim, refused to wear them for a shocking reason. The life jackets would ruin their selfies and interfere with their tan. That decision would ultimately cost them their lives. The weather suddenly worsened. Stormy waters combined with an overloaded vessel caused the yacht to capsize. Passengers were thrown into the sea. Those wearing life jackets stayed afloat and were rescued by emergency teams. Beatrice and Aline, however, were not so fortunate. Beatrice's body was the first to be found by marine rescuers after intense searches. Aline's body was discovered only a week later, washed up on a nearby beach. Beatrice was a well-known social media personality, famous for her glamorous lifestyle and travel content. Just hours before the tragedy, she had posted photos from the yacht, smiling and enjoying herself. Images that once symbolized joy now serve as a stark reminder of how meaningless appearance becomes when safety is ignored. On December 5th, 2017, in the city of Lyubinsk, in southwestern Russia, 26-year-old Alexander Chechek found himself in a deadly situation of his own making. Known for his reckless personality, Alexander decided to take a photo with a live hand grenade and send it to his friends. He pulled the pin from the grenade and began photographing it. He sent the images to several friends, showing himself calmly holding a grenade with the safety pin removed. Although he appeared relaxed in the photos, his actions were extremely dangerous. When one of his friends received the image, he immediately expressed concern and asked if everything was okay. Alexander replied evasively, saying, "Depends on what you consider okay." The friend became alarmed and begged him not to do anything stupid, asking where he was. Alexander ignored the warnings. Contrary to what Alexander may have believed, a grenade with the pin removed is highly unstable. It does not need to be thrown to explode. The pin is a safety mechanism that prevents detonation, and once it is removed, the grenade becomes a ticking time bomb. Shortly after the conversation, the grenade detonated. The explosion was devastating, and Alexander was killed instantly. The blast caused severe injuries that were documented in a disturbing police photograph, which cannot be shown on YouTube. The extent of the damage made it immediately clear that death was instantaneous. When police arrived, they secured the scene and launched an investigation. The case was immediately classified as an accident, not a suicide. The investigation focused on how Alexander obtained the grenade, as such weapons are illegal for civilian possession. Local media quickly covered the tragedy, publishing details of the text messages and photos Alexander had sent before the explosion. Reports confirmed that he sent the images to multiple friends, reinforcing that he did not intend to take his own life. He appeared to be showing off his bravery without fully understanding the danger. At some point, Alexander simply stopped responding. Investigators concluded that he was unable to reinsert the safety pin after pulling it, leaving the grenade primed for detonation. That single tragic mistake cost him his life. Authorities also investigated the illegal circulation of military weapons, highlighting the severe risks posed by such practices. For Alexander's friends and family, the incident was a devastating shock and an unbearable loss. Another heartbreaking scene was captured in the Netherlands. Two young engineers, one aged 19 and the other 21, were filmed embracing each other as if saying goodbye for the last time. Tragically, that is exactly what it was. They were performing routine technical maintenance at a height of approximately 80 meters when a sudden fire broke out. The flames spread rapidly and instantly cut off the only escape route, the ladder and the access shaft, trapping the workers at the top of the structure. With no way down and no chance of rescue in time, the situation became hopeless. One of the engineers jumped, choosing a quick death. The other remained trapped and perished in the fire at the top. Another tragic story involves 18-year-old Jalay Callan. She went on a hiking trip in the mountains of Alabama with her ex-boyfriend. These photographs would become the last images of her alive, posted shortly before her companion shot her in the head and pushed her body off a cliff. Later that same day, he voluntarily surrendered to the authorities. He was eventually sentenced to 52 years in prison. There is also a video that, at first glance, appears positive and joyful. A video in which the people captured have no idea they are living their final moments before a devastating plane crash. The footage shows a Brazilian football team recorded by one of the players. The team can be seen preparing for takeoff, joking, laughing, and chatting casually. They were flying to a final tournament match, unaware that this flight would be their last. The front-facing phone camera captured their voices and smiles. It was a routine flight operated by a Bolivian airline heading toward Colombia. Shortly after takeoff, Flight 2933 disappeared from radar. The aircraft crashed into the slope of a mountain. No one survived. Another case is that of Yekaterina Ignatova from Russia. The 18-year-old girl became known for her extreme selfies. She climbed to incredible and often dangerous heights to capture dramatic images. One day, while attempting to take a selfie on a 10-meter-high bridge in St. Petersburg, she lost her balance and fell. Initially, it was believed that she died from the fall. However, later investigations revealed that the cause of death was electrocution. While falling, she attempted to grab nearby wires and received a fatal electric shock. She had no chance of survival. This next story took place on a warm day in 2015 in a small town in northeastern Romania. Unsee, an 18-year-old high school student, was walking with her friend. Like many teenagers her age, Anna was passionate about social media and loved taking photos to share online. That day, however, would be her last. Anna and her friend decided to visit a local railway station. It was relatively quiet, with most trains standing still. It seemed like an ideal location to explore and find unusual places for photographs. Anna wanted to take what she called an extreme selfie, a picture that would stand out on her Facebook profile. The girls climbed onto the roof of a stationary train. They laughed and joked, excited as they prepared to take the photo. Anna chose a pose where she lay on her back with one leg raised into the air. She believed it would make for a striking image. Unfortunately, she was unaware of the deadly danger directly above her. High-voltage cables carrying an enormous electrical charge ran over the train. As Anna lifted her leg, it moved dangerously close to the wires. Although she did not physically touch them, she entered the electrical field. The voltage in those cables reached 25,000 volts, far beyond what the human body can withstand. In an instant, the electrical field discharged through Anna's body. Witnesses saw a horrifying scene. A passerby near the station noticed the girls on top of the train and shouted warnings, telling them to keep their heads and legs low, but his warning went unheard. Moments later, a loud explosion echoed through the area. Anna's body became a conductor for the deadly current. The discharge was so powerful that her clothes burst into flames. The force of the electricity was strong enough to knock her friend off the train. She fell to the ground, injured and shocked. Anna was engulfed in fire. The passerby, realizing the severity of the situation, acted without hesitation. Risking his own life, he climbed onto the train and desperately tried to extinguish the flames using his hands and clothing. But it was already too late. Emergency services were called, and Anna was rushed to the hospital. More than 50% of her body was covered in burns. Doctors fought to save her, but the damage was too severe. The electricity had not only burned her skin, but also caused deep internal injuries. After a brief struggle for life, Anna passed away. Her friend, who had been thrown from the train, survived with minor burns and shock. In her statement to the police, she said they only wanted to take a memorable photograph. They never considered the danger above them. The desire to create an extreme selfie had completely overshadowed any concerns for safety. Anna's family and friends were devastated. Each of these stories has one thing in common. No one expected to die that day. They weren't trying to end their lives. They simply underestimated the risk for a photo, a moment, or attention. If this video made you pause, even for a second, then it served its purpose. If you want more stories that remind us how fragile life truly is, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow and reach more people. Take care of yourself, and thank you for watching until the end.